Well, I'm speechless. Really, I mean, it's like, why say anything? But I do have a talk. So, we're in the fourth part of a four-part series. I never do series, because it always means I'm going to have to talk about something 4 weeks from now. And I don't know what's going to happen in 4 weeks, do you? I don't know, but of course, I committed to doing this, and then of course everything worked perfectly, because that's what happens when you commit to doing something. Spirit decides to support you in that and show you everything you need for the fulfillment of whatever that is. That's how it works. But that's not the week we're in. We're in the week of how to use it. So, Nadine sang, was going to sing the prayer. And Doug, we were looking for what song she was going to sing this week, and Doug wrote and said she'd possibly like to sing the prayer. And I forgot that I knew what song it was, and I was like, send it to me so I can hear it, as if I've never heard this. And then it got there, and I put it on. I was doing something at my desk, and she started to sing, and I just, sitting up there in my office, sobbing. I'm just sobbing. And I was like, do I want to sob on Sunday? Yes, the answer was yes. So, because, we're going to talk today about how to use it, and the tool we have in using it is prayer. We call it spiritual mind treatment, but it's prayer. And as I listen to Nadine sing this song and pray this prayer and speak these words, she's asking to live in a world where there is just peace, and to live in a world where I am safe, a number of times in the song, where I am safe. Now, we don't pray, we don't beseech an entity outside of ourselves to give us that. What we do is we pray by knowing and by treating our minds in such a way that we start to live that. We start to be that. Because as Reverend Gary said, peace already exists. Prosperity already exists. Your job and my job is just to allow it. To allow it. And to allow it, it means I have to be willing to not allow everything else contrary to it that shows up in my life. So this week, someone blogged on the CPR blog, this blog, and it was a woman who was talking about her career and her writing. And I just got a sense when I was listening to her, when I was reading her blog, that this must be what J.K. Rowling must have sounded like before Harry Potter. That this woman sat in a very desolate place with a daughter, not knowing if she could feed herself or her daughter, and yet still wrote Harry Potter, and is now one of the wealthiest women in England, but one of the wealthiest women in the world. And so this blog that I read, I thought, okay, so you who wrote this blog, you're sitting on this wealth of inspiration, just do it and see what happens, like J.K. Rowling did. And I found this quote of hers, and she said, J.K. Rowling said, anything's possible if you've got enough nerve. So one of my questions to you this morning is, how much nerve do you have? If anything's possible if you have enough nerve, I can tell you one thing, I have been a person in my life, I have always had enough nerve. Right, Kevin? I have always had enough nerve to do whatever I've decided to do. Because there's something in me and there's something in you that just knows that if you just do it, it will be all right. You will be safe. If you just do it, just open your mouth and sing, and look what comes out of Nadine. What if she somewhere said to herself, which is impossible to say, but what if she somewhere said to herself, I don't sing as well as other people, I shouldn't sing? We wouldn't have had that moment. We wouldn't have had her. What if Barbra Streisand said that? She said that a few times. She did, and she's admitted it. And she said that's when she froze. That's when she suddenly felt she couldn't sing, and so she couldn't. So do you have enough nerve to use what you have and dare to live the life you deserve? Do you? Do you have what it takes? The answer is you do have what it takes, but do you have the nerve to put behind what you have enough belief that it will demonstrate out here in the world a form? That it will demonstrate in the world where you get to experience it is really the question. Now, I know that there's one person here in this audience, and there's many of you, but I'm going to focus on one person who not only dares to live, but this incredible woman is willing to put it in writing for all the world to read. So I would like to read for you Reverend Rita's blog. She didn't know I was going to do this. From Monday morning. Because when I woke up Monday morning, and I read Rita's blog every day, when I woke up, I used to critique it and give her notes on it. I don't anymore. If she has a typo, oh well, I just smile. And you haven't had a typo in forever. I know, so I worked. Anyway. So I woke up Monday morning and I read this blog of Rita's, and it just stopped me in my place. And I immediately, and I never do this, copied it, put it on my talk for today, and said, this is how you will start next Sunday. So here's what she wrote. Many of us grew up learning to compromise, and we've lived our life with that mentality. Our parents did not mean to teach us how to compromise. That's just the way they were brought up. They thought it was safe. They were trying to protect us. But there must come a time when we know better. We do not need to continue to pass on the sins of the fathers. By sins, I mean erroneous thinking or any kind of thinking that is based on lack or limitation. When I grow old, which will never happen, but when I grow old, I want to be able to say that there was nothing I was afraid to do. Would you like to know that too? Wouldn't you like to know that when you get to the end of your life, you will be able to look at yourself and say, there was nothing that I was afraid to do. There was nothing that I let hold me back. And I mean nothing, no thing. She goes on to say, there was not a stone I was afraid to turn over. If I wanted to do it and it hurt no man, I did it. If I wanted to move to LA to become an actress, I did it. If I wanted to drive 500 miles a week to study opera, I did it. If I fell in love and wanted to get married, even though it meant moving 2,300 miles away from my home and family, I did it. If I wanted 3 children and not 2, I had them. I love that. At any time, if I wanted to change my mind about anything, I knew I could. If I wanted to go back to school, no matter how old I was, I could, and I succeeded. If I wanted to become a minister, I did. If I wanted to build a 24/7 healing and educational center, I did. I did because there is a power that works through and as me that is free and unlimited. Yes, I wanted to be able to tell my grandchildren that there is nothing they cannot do. That if the divine urge within them calls them to go to India to feed the poor, or to New York to become a Broadway star, they are unstoppable. I love those two things seeming so far apart. The only way I can do this, she says, is through example. Can I have a round of applause for Reverend Rita? Rita is one of those pieces of fruit that has fallen from my tree and is about to move to Hawaii to open a center. And that feels a little shaking. The ground shakes a little bit when I even think about Reverend Rita stepping away. But she's not. She's stepping towards her divine ultimate good, her divine destiny. Every single one of us in this room has a divine destiny. Kevin's about to go into his. Every single one of us has something that we are going towards. But we have to be awake enough to know that we're going towards. How often do we stop and think we're stuck? That's an illusion. It is just an illusion. I love the thing on CPR about the Canadian speed bumps. It's this piece of rubber that the Canadians put on roads, and they're fake speed bumps to get people to slow down. But they're not real. And this person wrote that one day he was walking along and he saw this guy come up and pick up the thing and take it to another street. He was like, oh my God, it's just an illusion. All speed bumps are illusions. All of our self-inflicted speed bumps are illusions. How many of you have any self-inflicted speed bumps? Yeah, get rid of them. Move to Canada and figure it out. I mean, think about it. It's all self-inflicted, isn't it? It's just the way we're using our minds. Ernest Holmes wrote this: the world is beginning to realize that it has learned all it should through suffering and pain. What if you today decided that you have learned all you possibly could through suffering and pain? what would your world look like? If you really believed that, not just said it to yourself, what if you really believed that you had no more to learn from any kind of suffering or limitation or lack or fear or doubt or unworthiness? I just felt like Dr. Walker. Unworthiness. What if you really went there? Can you go there, Joy? If you could really go there, what would your life be like? If you really never entertained any of that crap, and I will call it by its gender-specific name, crap, what would life be like if that happened? We are not here to suffer. We are not here to compromise our lives. We are here to realize we are here to let God live through me. You are here to let God live through you. Ernest Holmes wrote this: dare to speak, and to know that what you speak is the law unto the things spoken, regardless of what conditions exist. Dare to speak, and know that what you speak is the law unto the things spoken, regardless of what conditions exist. What are you speaking to the conditions in your life? How are you communicating with what's going on in your world? Good, bad, or indifferent. How do you respond to the way your life is unfolding? Do you honestly know it's unfolding perfectly no matter what? I was at a wedding last night. Al and Marcy Welland's daughter got married, and Al's father collapsed at the reception. And we had done this beautiful treatment beforehand that, because you know how weddings are with all the family things. So they asked me for a treatment, and I gave it to them. And I just said, just know this: everything tonight will unfold perfectly. Everything will be effortlessly, perfectly, peacefully, exactly what it's supposed to be. So, of course, when Mr. Welland fell over and collapsed, Marcy came to me. She said, give me that treatment again. And I just smiled, and I went, well. And then Al came over, and I said, this is the moment when you have to decide, do you honestly believe that everything's unfolding perfectly, no matter what, even here? And his father, recovered a bit. I mean, his father, I forget, 88, 89, 85. He got up, he smiled, the paramedics came, and there was a momentary freak out, but I didn't. I was just like, this too is unfolding perfectly. I don't know why this happened, but it unfolds perfectly. That's the way it works. And so he got up, and we found out that he just hadn't eaten, and then had some bourbon. So I'd have passed out too. That's all it was. And his vitals came back, and he got up, and he's like, sorry about that. And that was that. Now, here's the point. From the moment it happened to the moment of, sorry about that, what goes on in between? That's what I want you to think about today. Do you, when something happens, can you stand there and say, even this is my life unfolding perfectly? Dare to speak, and to know that what you speak is the law unto the things spoken, regardless of what conditions exist. Another one of my favorite quotes of Ernest Holmes is this: one alone in consciousness with the infinite constitutes a complete majority. How often do you wait for all the ballots to show up before you make a decision? To see, is everybody agreeing to this? Is everything in? Is this the right thing to do? When actually all we ever need to do is be the one person in consciousness with God, meaning step away from the conditions. Step away from the conditions. And if I'm willing to step away from the conditions, I am now in and as God. Now I am a complete majority. And I will decide what needs to be done based on God in me knowing exactly what needs to be done. That's the gift you have. That's the tool you have. That's the tool I have. That's what we can all look to and say, here's how my life gets to be lived. And then Ernest Holmes says in the book, always expect the good. Always expect the good. Can you look at yourself and say to yourself, I always expect the good? No matter what. We really need to add that. No matter what. And I loved on the blog this week, someone said, no matter what, no matter when, no matter where. I was like, there's always more, isn't there? No matter what. Always expect the good. I think we expect A lot of mixed messages to show up in our lives because we give the universe a lot of mixed messages. I'm expecting the good, but I also know this could happen. I'm expecting my life to unfold perfectly, except I'm also expecting it to unfold in ways that might really piss me off. So now, what am I telling the universe? Prove it to me. And guess what? You'll get pissed off. And your life will be unfolding perfectly, because that's what you told it to do. So, be very careful what you're thinking. So, the title of my talk today is User-Friendly, which is how to use it. So I have a simple message about how to use it. You know, Mark Wyrick, one of our founding members and practitioners, he's always off in the world doing a movie somewhere. But last night he flew in for the wedding and flying right back to his movie. And so he said, "What should you talk about tomorrow?" And I said, "You want the whole thing?" I said, "I can give it to you in one sentence." He said, "Wouldn't that be great if every Sunday you could just go in there and give your entire talk in one sentence?" I said, I could do that, but it wouldn't be as much fun for me. So here is the talk. How to use it. Very simply, get rid of the how-to part. That's the truth. Honestly, that is the whole thing. Get rid of the how-to. We waste so much time trying to figure out how to, when all we have to do is use it. Yes! Oh my God, that is it. How to use it. You know what? When we go into the how-to, we're outlining, aren't we? Oh, let me tell you how to do this. Here's how I would do this. I hear myself say that way too much, right, Rita? Rita, here's how I would do the accounting. No. Here's how I would do this. That's what we're telling the universe. And the universe, after part 1, part 2, and part 3, the universe is just here to do it. If you would just get your bloated nothingness, and really, please know I'm talking to myself. If I would just get my bloated nothingness out of the way. I always love when I see the commentary from my husband, like, please, get your bloated nothingness out of the way. If I would just get it out of the way and use it by letting it use me, everything would change. Everything would change. And I can tell you this, because I have a little bit of that self-deprecating humor, but I'm going to take it back right now, because I do let it use me. It's why I am able, when things go on in my life that I'm not particularly thrilled with, I can just look at it and say, nope, this is unfolding perfectly. What do I need to do? I do let it use me. And I don't get busy. I don't get caught up in the how-tos of it. So it's a simple message. It's not yours to worry about the how-to. It's yours just to do and allow God to deal with the how-to. Because the great part of that is God always knows the answer. And sometimes I don't. Don't you find yourself sometimes just saying, I have no idea what to do here. I have no idea how to fix this. I have no idea how to build this. I have no idea how to do this incredible idea that's come through me. And everybody and their brother will tell you how. Do you ever notice that? As soon as you put it out there, I want to do this. Here's what you do. You do this, 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 and this. Oh, don't listen to her. This is what you do. And yet, if we just turn it over and let God do it, we'd stop worrying so much about the how-to and just use it. So, for instance, I was typing. I'm a great typist. Somewhere along the line, my aunt taught me to type because she didn't want to do her part-time job, which was to type at home. And so she taught her 12-year-old nephew, who I'm sure she knew was gay, and she just decided, I'm going to teach you how to type. And the way you learn is by practicing on my reports that I have to type. So I typed, and I started typing, and I type like 90-some-odd words a minute. I'm a really fast typer. But I have noticed lately, you know, when we went from the typewriter, which had that impact feel to it, to the computer, that's how old I am, and then all of a sudden it's a different feel, I have noticed lately that I haven't been typing as well as I used to type. And no, I don't need a new keyboard. No, it's this. It's something else. Can I give my message? You will do a talk called Change the Keyboard. Great. Mine's this. So, you know what's so funny? It was Sharon last week. It's you this week. Next week, do I expect Scott Tyler to stand up there and talk to? This is great. I love this. So, anyway. So I'm typing, right? I'm typing, and I suddenly realize that it's I'm not typing as fast as I used to type because I am watching the keyboard and I'm looking at how I'm typing. And I'm trying to tell my fingers how to type. I already know how to do it. I don't have to do the how-to. I just have to use it. Let me tell you what happened right after that. I had this long thing to type out and I just said, I'm done with telling my hands how to type. I am just going to type. And I went, watched what I was doing, typed, looked down, not one mistake. And it was like a full page. I was just in shock. And I thought, wow, that's the talk. That's how to use it. Get rid of the how-to. You already know. There is something in you that already knows how to use your mind. There's something in you that already knows what to think. And you know why I know that? Because when you're not thinking what you're thinking, you're really annoyed at yourself, aren't you? Yeah. Some of you are like, no, I'm good at that. No, there's something in you that doesn't, you feel off when you think bad things, don't you? You feel off when you denigrate yourself. You feel something's wrong when you're thinking these negative things, isn't it? You think it's the atmosphere of the thing. It's not. It's your mind creating the atmosphere of the reaction to the thing by thinking the negative thoughts. I actually meant what I just said. Right? I can't say it again. Watch the tape. So, seriously, I don't think I could repeat that exactly the same way. But that's what it is. It's art. I know, it was a lot. If only we all had these pacifiers we could put in our mouths every time we thought a negative thought. How great would that be? Negative thought. Awesome. There's my next talk, the pacifier. Oh my God, this is great. So, to get to the point here. You know what you know. Now, how about just using it? And forget the how-to. Ernest Holmes said, one of the great difficulties in the new order of thought is that we are likely to indulge in too much theory and too little practice. Too much theory and too little practice. He says, we shall be compelled to do more than announce a principle, no matter how true that principle may be. I think it's time for us to stop announcing religious science. I think it's time for us to stop announcing spiritual mind treatment. I think it's time for us to stop announcing I am God and start actually living from those places and not worry about the how-to. How to be God. How about just being and know that that's what God is? Through the good, the bad, and the ugly, no matter what comes up, never stray from knowing that my life is unfolding perfectly. So week 1 was the thing itself. The thing itself is love. That's all there is. Week 2 is the way it works. How does it work? It works automatically. You can't stop it from working. It will work no matter what you do. Think a negative thought, it'll give it back to you. Think a positive thought, it'll give it back to you. That's the way it works. Whatever you're equal to, that's what you get to live. If you're equal to stress, if you're equal to striving, if you're equal to discomfort, that's what you will get in your life. If you're equal to love, if you're equal to power, if you're equal to success, if you're equal to prosperity, if you're equal to your sexy old thing, that's what you'll get. Whatever you are equal to, that's what you will get. That's the way it works. What it does, it expands your good at all times, naturally. So let it. That's what it does. It just constantly is expanding you to your highest good if you just let it. And then how to use it? Stop asking how and just use it. Ernest Holmes said, use it according to its nature. The world is all right, he says, when we view it correctly. On CPR this morning in one of the blogs, a person wrote that she has no tolerance for negative thoughts, that her tolerance has grown just completely unable to tolerate negative thoughts. So the question I have for you this morning is, how much tolerance do you have for the negative thinking that goes on in your mind? This is one place where you should really not be tolerant at all. Be completely intolerant to negative thinking. Do not tolerate it for a second of your life. Know that you are a choice and that you can think whatever you choose to think. It's up to you to step up to the truth of who you are. I mean, you know what to do. In 2013, we're here to be seen. The question is, what do you want to be seen as? Do you want to be seen as the truth of who you are? Do you want to be seen as your authentic God self? Do you want to be seen as the most successful, prosperous, happy, free person that knows who they are so perfectly, so unquestionably, that you step into anything and you have the nerve to live the life that you were born to live. So I'll ask you again at the end of this long talk, do you have the nerve to go out from this moment, from this theater today, out into the world and live the life you're supposed to live, the life you were born to live, and put down all the negative thinking, all the contradictory thoughts, and only hold true to one thing, and that is that right where I am, God is. Do you have the nerve to do that? Yes or no?
Yes.
And so it is. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.